Back from a whirlwind trip to Darkpaw Studios, the EverQuest Show has interviews with the head of the studio, as well as numerous developers to talk about the Year of Darkpaw ahead, the 25-year legacy of the game, and the future of the franchise. And there's plenty of headlines to cover as well, from TLP and TLE servers.
Do you have any ideas on where you're headed for the TLPs for this year?
To the announcement of real-life fan events. We have it all on this episode of the EverQuest Show.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah. Celebrate life, get excited about good times, good living. Come on, shout it out. Hey! Take it up, take it over, take it out of control. Today I'm freeing my soul, and now you got me singing.
Welcome into the EverQuest Show. I'm Fading here in the EverQuest Show studios, and we are just weeks away from the 25th anniversary of EverQuest. So for this episode, we're checking in with the developers at Darkpaw Games to see what's planned for this big year, get some behind-the-scenes info on current content, and look ahead to the TLPs and the future of EverQuest. Now, I came back with over 15 hours of footage, and I can't possibly edit all that and get it into one episode, so here's a little sneak peek at what I'm saving for future episodes.
You want those vistas, you want when the player first comes in the zone to just go, you know, wow, what is going on here?
I mean, it was a huge amount of work to implement alternate personas, but it would have been like just wildly out of scope if shards didn't exist.
Here's what EQ did, and here's what players know, and here's what players think they know.
A certain number of Easter eggs hidden in it. And I'm not going to tell you how many, but we may have a contest.
And that's just the content from Darkpaw Games, but I also had the unbelievable experience of interviewing Jay Barbo, the original music composer for EverQuest, as well as Nick Parkinson, son of the legendary fantasy artist Keith Parkinson, who passed away in 2005. Look for a little bit more teaser video at the end of this episode. But now, to get a look ahead for the Year of Darkpaw, I had the chance to sit down with Jenn Chan, the head of Darkpaw Games.
Anytime I've had the chance to chat with the person in charge of the beloved EverQuest franchise, I always like to start with a basic question.
How are the games doing? How is the franchise doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're going strong. Very few games can tout 25 years of continuous development after launch, right? It's like, sure, you've heard of those games that have been in development for decades, but we launched and we're still delivering content every year.
And this year, the Year of Darkpaw has even more content for the EverQuest 25th anniversary and the EverQuest II 20th anniversary.
We're really amping up the celebrations this year. We're trying to make sure that when you come in, there's always something every month, something new to do, something new to collect, play, see, and even just catching up with friends. Because, you know, our games are all about the community, and if they're in every month, they're in every week, that's like people start to find a cadence and they can start playing with each other and finding new friends again.
And the monthly content editions have allowed for just that.
So the Anniversary Tower, big success, big hit, a lot of people are playing that, and it's also a great little central area where people can just kind of hang around and go, hey, what's going on this year?
And while I was at Darkpaw Games Studio, I wanted to sit down with some of the developers and talk about some of this content. First up was Robin Vallee, who was in charge of all of that Year of Darkpaw content.
I am the live events designer for EverQuest. This year, it's all centralized on Year of Darkpaw, so my live events this year are going to be on the Anniversary Tower and doing an event for each month for that. I am a newish designer. I've been with the game for 3 years now, so it's just been a smorgasbord of learning, and I love it.
And for Year of Darkpaw, what kind of challenges have you found with that?
It's a little quicker. So with the live events, I have a little more time that I can spend working on it. But with the Year of Darkpaw, it's one a month, every month, keep it going. So it's like, okay, I have to go in there and get it done really quick.
And some of the lessons learned from Year of Darkpaw tasks may filter over into some of our future holiday tasks, including for those on TLPs.
The other live events haven't been geared towards all the players, like TLPs. And this one is. Anybody can do it on any server, and that has been really good feedback.
And do you think that's something that maybe you'll take a lesson from?
I do really want to keep doing that.
And I love all of the content that we've been experiencing in the game, but as a EverQuest super fan, I really had a question I wanted to pose to Jenn Chan, the head of the studio.
Lots of stuff happening in game, players' excitement, but there has been a sentiment of let's get the players together like we used to. That's how you and I met. You and I met officially many years ago at a fanfare. Is there anything planned for a real-life player event?
Sure. So absolutely, we are looking at trying to be at a lot of the conventions this year.
Okay.
We are looking at having a presence at PAX East. We have a panel in the works, as well as a community meetup at one of the local restaurant event places.
For those that aren't familiar with PAX East, it's one of the largest video game conventions in the country, but it also caters to board gaming and other pop culture references. It hosts up to 70 to 75,000 people each year, with PAX East being held in Boston, but there are other PAX conventions throughout the country. PAX East is a 4-day event, and this year it runs from Thursday, March 21st through Sunday, March 24th, but all of the EverQuest events will be on Thursday, March 21st. Starting at 1:30 p.m. on March 21st, there will be a 1-hour panel called Behind the Scenes, 28 Years of EverQuest Development. That'll be held in the Condor Theater at PAX East, and later that evening at the Harpoon Brewery in the Seaport District of Boston, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., there will be a bit of a fan meetup. And of course, the EverQuest Show will be there. But PAX East is by far not the only event that is planned for this year.
So the big thing that we're really excited to talk about is an event called FippyFest. So this is primarily going to be a digital forward event where we're bringing back the big keynote from fanfares. We'll also be bringing back the Q&A panels that were always standing room only from the fanfare events. So that's digital forward, and it'll be live streamed, and then tickets for people that want to ask questions, as well as all of these digital goodies that come with those tickets.
And we've already had a look at some of the digital goodies for both EverQuest and EverQuest II. And we also have some dates as well. Now, the event will be held on Saturday, June 15th, but the tickets will go on sale on February 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific. Now, that will include both digital and in-person events, but we don't have an official location announced for the event because it is a digital forward event. And you can attend in person, but don't expect everyone to get a ticket.
We will have a very small number of tickets for people to be able to attend in person. But, you know, fire regulations, all that stuff, it will be very, very small.
Okay. But online, people will be able to get all the same information.
Yep.
Now, at the moment, those are the only events that Darkpaw has planned. PAX East as well as FippyFest, but there may be more coming down the line. And because the EverQuest Show is located here in the Midwest in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana, we've decided to see if we can put something together for Jenn Chan. Jenn Chan is the largest board gaming convention in North America, held every year right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, but like most conventions, it also caters to video gamers as well as just a general pop culture fan base. And it's very similar to PAX East. It hosts as many as 70 to 75,000 people every year, and it's a 4-day event, coined the best 4 days in gaming. This year, Jenn Chan takes place Thursday, August 1st through Sunday, August 4th, and tickets are on sale right now. And it is one of my favorite events. So, it's still early, but the EverQuest Show would like to host some type of player event, and who knows, there may be more events announced by Darkpaw. But it's been a while since EverQuest fans have had a chance to get together. The last in-person event to be held by Darkpaw or Daybreak Games was a minor event in San Diego for the 20th anniversary at Battle Mage Brewing Company. There was also a Comic-Con museum component as well, but the event was relatively small and not well publicized. Prior to that, the last real-life gathering was in 2014 at the final SOE Live, and it was declared the Year of EverQuest for the arrival of EverQuest Next and the anniversaries of EverQuest and EverQuest II. But it would be the last fan convention held by Sony Online before Sony sold off their PC division and it was rebranded as Daybreak Games Company. There was also an event planned in 2015, but that event was canceled in the restructuring that occurred that year. And the EverQuest Show has dedicated an entire episode to SOE Lives and to fanfares. And you can watch that episode right now with the link provided in the description. And make sure you don't miss that interview with Linda Carlson, who many of you also know as Brass the Dwarf.
And I am so excited about bringing back fan events. And I'm going to try to be at as many of these as my time and my wallet will allow. So if you're going to be there, make sure you say hello. And if that excitement weren't enough, we've also got TLP and TLE servers that are coming over the next few months. So while I was at Darkpaw, I figured I'd ask about those as well. So let's talk about another thing that I think gets the player base excited, and that's the TLP and TLE releases. Let's start with the EQ TLP. We're approaching, there's a lot of excitement. I mean, the TLP base is very excited about what's to come. Do you have any ideas on where you're headed for the TLPs for this year? It's a big year, and I think players may be expecting something big. What do you have in mind?
Well, for EQ, we're planning on bringing back our most popular TLP rule sets.
Oh.
I'll probably leave that there with details, but certainly I can say that we get it. Some people were not there for when these rule sets launched, and this is a chance for them to really experience it at launch and really feel the excitement and the energy in the air of being there at the beginning of these rule sets.
Darkpaw has always been notoriously tight-lipped about the TLP rule sets, but at least I could get a feel for the process of how they determine what a rule set could be.
What do you think it is that makes a successful TLP server? What do you think are ones that have done well? Why do you think they do well?
I think the ones that do the best are the ones that definitely lean on nostalgia, but also give people something new to play, and something new and different, or something that changes up that original experience.
How do you think the first to engage has worked out?
So with encounter locking, if there's a whole bunch of people all contesting for the same mob, somebody, usually somebody that usually can't compete, is able to at least down that mob and to be able to continue on like their quest lines.
Do you think it's done what you intended to do, or has it created a new set of problems as well?
I think it generally has done what we intended to do. You know, that was to reduce trains. I mean, trains are practically non-existent now, and to reduce griefing.
So when you come up with different rule sets for the TLPs, what ideas do you consider? Are there limitations on what you can and can't do within the TLP framework?
I mean, we're constantly considering all kinds of ideas. We read the forums, we're constantly in Discord. We also read non-official forums. A lot of times we're lurking on those. So certainly the ideas can come from anywhere. And, you know, the limitations, they always boil down to the big three project management triangle, right? Time, cost, people.
Of that triangle, which is your most limiting constraint?
I would definitely say people, right? Because, again, 25 years of EverQuest, there's a lot to learn, and very few people have that much knowledge.
Someone who does have that knowledge, and who looks at the code of EverQuest every day, is Chris Cheeseman. Chris was responsible for coding the encounter locking system, and I asked him what it's like to touch code that stretches back 28 years.
It's a challenge. I generally try and understand as much as possible about whatever system or feature I'm working on, to kind of make sure that any of the past work is understood. That way the new work that I'm piling on top of it doesn't cause too many issues.
Were those difficult to code? Were those difficult to change?
Both of those systems, the damage system and the aggro system, are pretty old systems, and they affect a lot of the game. It was challenging to get a good understanding of each of those to be able to make the tweaks that needed to be made.
How do you implement something like that on just one server? Is it an if-then? Is it literally an if-then? If this server, then use that. If not, don't use it?
Yeah, so it's all of the code that handles that is all behind checks for if the rule set is active, then do the extra check that allows the encounter locking system to work.
So if the new server comes out and that rule set is active, you literally just flip a switch on that server and it knows to recognize that.
That's how we're able to turn it on the test server. We basically turn the switch on for the test server to test those changes that we want. some extra eyes on.
And whatever the rule sets for those servers, those won't be announced for weeks or months. But EverQuest II players also have a new TLE server expected sometime in June. So for TLE information, we go back to Jenn Chan.
EQ players have their TLPs and the EQ2 players have their TLEs, but what can they expect for this year?
So this year is definitely an kind of out there year. We are traveling back in time to when the world was much less complicated, but the lands were much more harsher. Yeah, it'll definitely be a different experience than what players can get today, but it'll absolutely be wholly familiar. It's also a chance for people that didn't really get to experience the early years of EQ2 to be able to go back in time with us and kind of experience it again.
And it's not just the excitement around the TLEs for EverQuest II.
So the excitement really is the whole Year of Darkpaw for EverQuest II. Between the new giveaways, collections, missions, achievements, the Masquerades of Divinity, the soundtrack releases, the upcoming contests, the real-life events, it's certainly an action-packed year that can't really be contained to one relatively limited time of the year.
So whether you're gearing up for a TLP or a TLE server, enjoying the live content, heading to a fan event, things are certainly looking exciting for the Year of Darkpaw. And while I wasn't expecting much information, there was one more question I wanted to ask about while I was at Darkpaw Games. There's been a lot of excitement about the franchise, obviously with the Year of Darkpaw, but then there was a little bit of some information that was released last year.
We have a number of first-party owned IP that we believe are highly valuable and can be utilized further for additional titles, EverQuest being at the top of the list.
I know it's very early, and I know you're not going to be able to tell me as much as we all want to know, but what can you tell us?
Well, unfortunately not much. We're definitely still in the ideation phase, the concept phase, and figuring out what really makes sense for the next game in the EverQuest franchise.
Is there anything that you think is definitely going to be a road that you will travel, or potentially a road that you will not travel, given some of the previous iteration?
So certainly it's still in its infancy stage, and a lot of things can change between now and when we're ready to actually talk about it. But certainly we need to make sure that it feels like an EverQuest game. It needs to feel like it comes from our world. It needs to feel like you're meeting all the core pillars of what EverQuest is.
So there have been conversations that have been happening.
Right.
Okay. Okay. As we get close to the 25th anniversary and beyond, I have so much content that I can't wait to bring to you. So make sure you're subscribed so you'll know when those episodes drop, and here's just a sample of what you can expect.
The original keys. And it kind of brings you home. It feels like, oh yeah. So I've already been on an adventure. That's my whole goal.
There's the Miami avatar, and she's batting 2 cancer ribbons out of the park.
So I'm Nick Parkinson. My connection to EverQuest is my dad was Keith Parkinson, who did the cover for EverQuest. There's literally a picture of me, look at the halfling, and then look at the picture, and it's like, oh yeah, okay.
If I was an artist and I was stuck in a cave, what would I do? I'd paint the walls. I'd start painting the walls and slowly go insane. And that's kind of one of the things that I kind of built in that zone, is that you're watching someone go insane.
What's a secret or an Easter egg that people may not know about the game that you know?
Soon to come, there is a new, and that is just amazing. And you can't talk about that for a little bit.
I know, I know.
I couldn't believe it, because it's like, here's my old D&D character, and to see him on covers and things like that, and I love that. An actor that I grew up watching all his movies as a nerd, you know, all the vampire movies, he did his voice.
So in Unreal Engine, you can take any of your creations and basically simply plug in VR. And so as long as you have the hardware, a headset, and controllers, you can go into any of your creations and explore them from the inside.
People already were laughing so hard that I started to laugh at the ridiculous things I was saying.
Crazy how there was
Now, this is just the start of a huge amount of content that's coming your way over the next year. And I'll be attending and bringing you coverage from PAX East as well as FippyFest and any additional events that the EverQuest Show will be attending, like Jenn Chan, for example. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Continue to like, subscribe, and share this video if you could, please. And if you're going to be attending Jenn Chan, I'd love to hear any ideas for fan meetups or things that you'd like to see. Comment below with that if you would. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in NORAD.
We gotta be the best we can be. And though sometimes we don't want to, still we gotta chase our dreams. Reach up and reach high, because we're gonna pull through and give it all we got, even though it can seem hard to catch and make it happen. But we can't start sliding, come on, and do what you gotta do.